What's good, everybody? It's Asia One, and I'm here as a special guest with the B-Boy B-Girl Dojo to have your knowledge drop. We're going to talk about hip hop. We're going to talk about what happened when it went from capital H-I-P to lowercase hip hop. So we all got to know where hip hop started, right? We know that it started out of the grimy South Bronx in the early 70s by African Americans, Afro-Caribbean, and Latino peoples that were and are still living in these areas. They experienced a lot of racism and socioeconomic poverty because of this racism and a lot of stress, right? So in reaction to this stress, they birthed these outlets that became these art forms. The music, we like to call the DJ, the word, the spoken word, the MC, the B-boys and the B-girls, the dance, and the art of graffiti. So, collectively, this became known as hip hop. We know that in the 80s, it experienced a commercial wave where these same teens that created hip hop became overnight celebrities when hip hop was imported downtown to the Manhattan club scene. We know the B-boys, MCs, DJs, graffiti artists mingled with fledgling celebrities back then like Madonna and David Bowie, Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, and many more. We know that hip hop would soon travel the world and be exploited by the commercial industry, especially in the US. We're going to move now into the golden era period of 85 through the 90s. This is the third consecutive epoch of hip hop. It was marked by the socioeconomic effects of what we know as Reaganomics in the US. We know that hip hop broadened in depth in the scope of material, exploring Black nationalism and worldwide viewpoints. We also know that hip hop expanded its base globally and expressed multiculturalism and diversity in its members. And we also know in this golden era period, it's considered a renaissance period of styles, themes, and discord, and as a form of enlightenment. So now we got to move into 90s hip hop, something maybe some of you guys are more familiar with, or at least have heard more about. So the 90s period we can kind of consider this the under attack period. The visibility of nonconformity of hip hop's style, language, and social atmosphere to the norms of the dominant white culture is seen as a threat to social disobedience and order. We also know that hip hop becomes a scapegoat for and a blame for larger class problems, including racism and the war on drugs in America. So again, let's tie this into how it went from capital H-I-P to lowercase hip hop. So rap music became extracted from hip hop culture and renamed hip hop by the music industry. The media, law enforcement, and academia alike began to use lowercase hip hop as a catch-all term for young Black and brown people in America. Condemnation of lyrical content of commercial rap music is negative, violent, misogynistic, homophobic, and of no value to society. And rappers became labeled as reactionaries and terrorists by the FBI. So now we have that shift, right, to the underground movement of hip hop. So devalued and misunderstood, hip hop as an urban folk art form, including b-boying, MCing, DJing, and graffiti art, they were left behind in that corporate shift, essentially, right? So being the stepchildren or that stepchild element, what happened is the creation of global events, conferences with all the elements of hip hop together and with progressive panels, intergenerational tutelage, tutorials happening, which created a sustainable worldwide movement for hip hop. This was a time when it was inclusive to everyone who had skills plus the knowledge of self, regardless of race, color, creed, and desire to be part of something larger than oneself. So these are the events, the noteworthy events worth mentioning from that time period. When is the Universal Zulu Nation anniversary in New York City? This is the first international event in America to express and celebrate hip-hop culture, along with the fifth element, which is considered knowledge, wisdom, and overstanding, brought forth by Universal Zulu Nation. Next up would be Rocksteady Crew's anniversary, also in New York City. This seminal hip-hop b-boy crew and annual event brings thousands of international hip-hoppers to New York to mix and mingle with legends and pioneers of hip-hop. Moving on to Battle of the Year in Germany. All the elements in performing, battling, ciphering, building together help stimulate and support a solid hip-hop movement in Europe, also attended by hip-hoppers from Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Moving on to the B-Boy Summit, my personal favorite. This is in Los Angeles. The B-Boy Summit was created by myself in partnership with J-Love, Easy Rock, and supported by the Rocksteady Crew and the Universal Zulu Nation San Diego chapter. It was built to pay homage to the B-Boys and the B-Girls by the MC, the DJ, and the graffiti artists through performances, battles, panels, ciphers, and workshops. It became actually one of the largest events in hip-hop in the U.S. with, in our heyday, I believe in 97, we had over 7,000 attendees, which was really big for an event in the U.S. Moving on to Freestyle Session, which is a worldwide event, also started in San Diego and in Los Angeles. This notorious event that satiated the growing demand for and promoted the competitive aspect of b-boy dance through large national and international battles, which was also the first large franchised event that is now a worldwide b-boy, b-girl dance institution. So that in a nutshell kind of talks a little bit about the movement of hip hop, what happened, especially here in the US, that affected the world. Though many of us still really write hip hop, capital H-I-P, capital H-O-P, that really it's more common to see it lowercase now because people really don't argue that it is a culture. They think it's something that doesn't demand a capitalization like a proper subject or a proper noun. So again, rap is the music, hip hop is the culture. It's not hip hop music, it's rap music. Hip hop is the culture. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of knowledge today. If you already knew it, then share it and just know that, that's what it's about, right? I appreciate being with you guys again. I'm Asia One. No easy props, y'all. Signing out. Peace.